let's give you a quick update on what's going on with the entertainment center. So I know this looks really janky right now, but we've blocked it in. It's not supposed to look pretty. It's just actually supposed to work. So that's where we're going to be pulling in the lower box for underneath the counter for the for Cat 6e, the coax, the HDMI, and you can kind of see where we've drawn out here, where the one is behind the TV is going. So basically, we had to cut this section out to get in behind here, understand what was going on with the electrical, find out where everything was run, and we were basically able to find that there was one leg right down there that we were able to pull out. So now we have these two, and let me make sure I say this. Do not recommend having two hot legs just kind of open, sitting here doing nothing in your closet. It's just myself and the cat for a while, and I keep the door closed so she can't get in. But that's what we're doing. So we've got it blocked out. I'll take you around to the other side, but the reason all this is here, first of all, we had to set back the box because we don't have enough wire. There's a very limited amount to run up to here, and they didn't leave us any slack, so that's basically where we had to put it here. So that's why that kind of ended up there. And then on the other side, we had to cut out a rather large section to kind of get behind here and see what was going on from the other side and position and mount the boxes. As you can see, this one conduit of Carlon, we've already got measured out. We've already got it figured out that it's probably going to go right about there. And that's going to run the HDMI from that box down to underneath. So that'll be nice and hidden. And then in the future, right now we've got HDMI 2.1. What do you say, 15 years from now, we'll have HDMI 4.1. All we got to do is pull the box off, fish two new cables, and we're done. So, and here's what it looks like from the other side. So basically the section was here over that we took out just so we could understand what was going on, get a feel for the cables, get up under there. Let's see, down here, looking into the closet, the way they ran the wiring for the audio, we're basically going to have to leave it there because it runs through the wall to the left, through a blank section in the wall that is this thickness, and I think I showed you that before, and then into what's going to be the wiring room. And the way they ran it, I don't want to yank on it and mess it up, so we're going to leave it as is. Because we're going to end up having the 1 1/4 Carlon conduit that goes over to the room, if the Bose audio guy comes in and says, hey, we need to redo the cabling, well, guess what? We've got a chase now, so, or we will. But this is basically the two boxes. This is how we have it set up. There's where the, and I'm dropping everything, sorry guys. As I said, I am not a professional at this. I just do other stuff for a living. So anyway, there is going to be where the electrical comes in for that box, and this is just a pigtail right now. It's going to run between the two. So this is going to run from the power that's in there to this box, and then we're going to pigtail the leg off to the box down or up above. So it'll be perfect, but you can see where we've already notched out here for the conduit when we're trimming out our HDMI conduit. And then it's going to have 4 Cat 6e on the left, a brush plate, 3 HDMI, and then the coax coming in. So the reason we're leaving the brush plate there, we don't know what the future is going to hold, and it's only a run from basically there to, let's see if I can see it under here, sorry, from there to right where this wall is. So in the future, even though there is only going to be one conduit between the two for the HDMI, technically it's only like, what, 1.5 foot drop, so you could pull that brush plate off, drop something right down, pull it through if you need to. So again, I'm trying to think of the future. I don't think I'm going to need more than 3 HDMI 2.1, the coax, and the 4 Cat 6, but you never know if you ever want to run some audio between the top and the bottom. You got the brush plate option, and then the 1 1/4 inch Carlon that we're using it's capable of pulling 7 Cat 6E. So we're going to have 4 and 1 coax. So that's basically 5. So that still leaves more than enough room to pull some HD audio in there if they ever decide to do that. So we're accounting for pretty much anything we can think of. Okay, cool. We'll catch you later. So we're back. We've gotten the drywall work done. And look what we've got here. So we've mounted the upper box. We've mounted the lower box. Right now, these two have not been mounted. We just ended pulling them a few minutes ago. As you can see, we've got HDMI cables run. So what we've decided to do is we're not going to cover this with drywall. We're actually going to go out and get a couple of work access boxes. We're going to drywall it and make it look really nice. Put a work access box down here and another work access box down here. So that way, if we ever need to run stuff again, that's completely cool. The HDMI cables are awesome. They're done by a company that Linus Tech Tips recommended. Well, Linus Tech Tips did a awesome review. So they bought a ton of HDMI cables and tested them to see if they had continuity, they had good grounds, good connections, and they reviewed a bunch of them. So this cable company is out of Canada. Again, I'm not sponsored by Linus. I'm not sponsored by the cable company or anything, but just off that recommendation, I bought these cables. I had them imported, and they tested a ton of standard cables, and this had the absolute lowest failure rate. They're also probably the cheapest HDMI cables, which is freaking awesome. So they were super cheap compared to what you'd go to one of the big box stores and buy, and they had the lowest failure rate. So these are HDMI 2.1 guaranteed for life, and they're guaranteed 8K compatible. So we've already run those things. So let me take you around to the other side of the cabinet. We'll show you what we got going on there. Well, let's get to the closet. Okay, so in the closet, you can see we've been doing a little work in here. So we've got the 2 cables pulled, or the 2 conduits pulled through there and up, and right now they're hanging. We figured out we're going to use one of the patch panels that I've got, and we had to alter it a little bit. I'm going to show you how I did that, so that's kind of cool. But down below, we're actually going to run a 2-inch conduit down to the floorboard and underneath the house, because as you see those blue cables right there, that's the existing Cat 5 that we're replacing with Cat 6A. And they put them through the house, underneath the house, because most of the Cat 6A is actually run in the floorboards from underneath. So we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to take the 2-inch, run it down. We're going to run it all the way up to where the ceiling is almost up there, because the cabinet, again, if you remember, we talked about this before, is when they installed the home audio, they didn't leave us enough slack, so that is the furthest down we could pull the Bose home audio box. So we're going to have to mount the rack above that, which is not optimal, but it is what it is. So we're going to pull this kind of up high, so that way it drops down into the cabinet to the first patch panel that we've got going on there. If you look on the other side, I may have shown you this the other day. I can't remember because it's been a whirlwind of still unboxing, but all the drywall work is done. That's the new box. So I'm going to put up an old photo of the old kind of way it was and what it's going to look like as it is right now. And then I'll show you, obviously, at the end when the series is over, how it looks when it's all done. If you remember right, this is the audio. The way they've got it run, for me to undo it, it would just be an absolute nightmare. So we're going to leave the home audio box there. But we're going to end up putting a nice brush plate. Yes, it's already mounted. I know that's what you're thinking is, like, it's already mounted, but you haven't painted. Well, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to paint the whole thing from top to bottom. We're going to color match it with the original paint. We know what kind of paint it was. But yeah, so there you go. But I left enough slack in there. Anyway, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I left enough slack in there so we can back the screws out. I can like brush paint around the back of it and then tape it off and then roll it out. And you'll absolutely never know a bit that it was actually, not original. So underneath the cabinet, so I got to go under there. And so one of the lights cut out. Is this is the panel that's underneath there. We've done most of the drywall work there. I've patched this. This is where they had put that nice, nasty old wall work in there that we've pulled out. We're going to put a nice brush plate. Again, that's audio. And when the guy installed the audio so that's the audio for the TV to the living room, but the audio to the rest of the house, they put up under here. And when they pulled that, the guy was lovely enough to, and I don't know if we can see this up under here or not, but he pulled the box to right at the very corner of there with the electrical outlet that we took out. And so I've been trying to do that, but frankly, it has been a royal pain. And it looks like I did it while I was completely high, drunk, and just like lost my mind. So luckily, it's pretty much where no one will ever see it except for once or twice when we install home audio. So I'm going to try to do a little bit more to make it look better, but that's about as bad as it's probably going to get, because it's almost impossible to get a drywall tool up in there to spread drywall putty. But we're going to clean all this up. It's kind of nasty. The other thing I wanted to show you about this is that if you see the conduit right here, we brought it through there. We're actually going to end up screwing it to the countertop. The countertop is awesome. It's actually 1 1/4 inch ply that they did a super good job on. We thought it was just some chipboard, but it wasn't. So we're going to end up screwing that and tagging it in there. And then we brought it over to the wall here. So the reason we did that, let me show you that real quick. If you look on the other side of the wall, in that cavity, and again, I'll try to do the best I can as far as showing this to you, sorry, is we've got some 2x4s here blocking. So this is the blocking on the left side is the blocking for that room. But we've got some 2x4s here that go up. And then we have these 2x4s here that go up. We were worried it was structural, so we wanted to bring it straight back into here, but we decided against it just because we didn't want to mess anything that could potentially be structural. So we figured that the best way to do that was to run it underneath the cabinets where no one's going to end up seeing it. And then we can ensure that we're not doing anything that's against code. We're going to end up putting firewall caulk around that. So let's show you the bracket and how we kind of fix that. So, and you can see basically it's 2 2-inch runs and 3/4 runs. So basically you would pull your home runs to here, and then you would run your lines off of here, here, and here. So what we figured out is we needed 3/4. So if you remember, good, let's just drop that. If you remember me telling you that we were going to bring a 2-inch from underneath the house, and the squeaking is my clamps because they're rusty. Thank you, sir. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring a 2-inch from underneath the house, and then 2 3/4 from the back of the conduit. So, or the back of the entertainment center. Yeah. So, no, these are 3/4 inch originally. So what we found out is that if we use the spider bit that's 1.5 inches, the outside diameter here almost exactly matches the outside diameter of the coupling. So we clamped it to this 2x4, and you can, and then we marked it with let's see, Sharpie to figure out where we wanted it. We originally used the larger bit, and we realized we were going to overdrill the hole and it wouldn't fit right, so we backed out and we used the 1.5 inch and clamped it down. And then basically what we're using is we're using a Bose speed horse, and what you do is you put 2x4s between them and screw them in, and it's super sturdy. So it's a sacrificial piece of wood, and then we drilled that hole out. And it actually fits so well on the back side of this that you have to screw it in. So not only are you going to put the ring on it and make sure it's nice and snug and tight, but I don't know if you can see this, but I mean, we really had to torque on it to screw it in, but it was almost an exact perfect fit. So we're going to end up mounting this on the wall. And let's see. We're going to put another block in there. But we're going to mount this on the wall right here. So here's one coming from the cabinet. And then here's going to be the other one coming from the cabinet. And then from underneath the house, we're going to put the 2-inch there. So we're going to mount that on the wall. It's going to look super clean. It's going to be nice and tight. It's going to be tidy. It's going to be perfect. So catch up with this later. We're going to get some more done. And then, yeah, see you in a little bit. The ring on it and make sure it's tight. But I don't know if you can see this, but I mean, we really had to torque on it to screw it in. But it was almost an exact perfect fit.